Hello, welcome to Discovery Storytime, the place where we have fun learning new things. Every year by this time, summer reading would have been in full swing. This year, even though it's a little late, it's coming soon. The theme for this year's summer reading program is Imagine Your Story. So today we're going to read about an astronaut, Mae Jemison, to inspire us for our story. You Should Meet Mae Jemison by Laurie Calkhoven and illustrated by Monique Dong. Have you ever looked up at the stars and wanted to fly? Have you dreamed of being an astronaut and blasting off into space? Or of being a dancer? Or being a doctor who brings medical care to people around the world? If you've ever dreamed of any of those things, then you should meet Mae Jemison. Mae is the first African American woman to become an astronaut, but she's much more than that. Mae is also a scientist and a dancer. And she's a doctor, an author, and a teacher. Today, she's working to find ways for humans to travel beyond our solar system. Mae followed her dreams, all of them. Once you meet her, you'll know you can follow yours too. Mae was born in Decatur, Alabama on October 17, 1956. She has two older siblings, a sister and a brother. Her father was a carpenter and her mother taught elementary school. When Mae was 3 years old, her family moved from Alabama to Chicago, Illinois. She thinks of Chicago as her hometown. Mae always loved science. When her kindergarten teacher asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up, Mae said, a scientist. Many people at the time didn't think it was possible for an African American girl to become a scientist. Women were more likely to become teachers and nurses than scientists. Don't you mean a nurse? The teacher asked. No, I mean a scientist, Mae answered. Mae believes that the best scientists are not only logical but creative too. She took all kinds of dance lessons growing up: ballet, jazz, modern, African, and even Japanese dancing. She wanted to be a professional dancer. She also designed and made clothes for her dolls, acted in school plays, and took art lessons. But science was always Mae's first love. She graduated high school at 16 and won a scholarship to Stanford University to study engineering. In college, Mae decided that she wanted to be a medical doctor. When she graduated from Stanford, she moved to New York City to go to Cornell University Medical College. Mae studied hard, but she also made time for fun. She took dance lessons and she went to the theater with friends. During her summer breaks, Mae traveled to Kenya and Cuba to learn about medical care in other countries, especially for poor people. She also worked in Thailand at a camp for refugees, people who had been driven away from their homes by war. People who want to be astronauts must have college degrees in science, math, or engineering. They also need to have work experience in their fields and show NASA that they can be leaders. Mae's application stood out. NASA asked her to travel to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, for interviews and physical tests. Mae must have shown them how smart and strong she was, because in June 1987, NASA asked her to be an astronaut candidate. She was one of 15 chosen out of a group of 2,000 people. Mae's early dream was coming true. She was on her way to becoming an astronaut. On September 12, 1992, Mae became the first African American woman to travel into space. Now May was making history by being both a woman and an African American. May flew on the Space Shuttle Endeavour. She spent about 8 days in space and completed almost 127 orbits of the Earth. In that time, she traveled more than 3 million miles. May was never afraid in space. I was very excited and happy, she said. She remembered being a young girl who loved to stare up at the stars. The first thing I saw from space was Chicago, my hometown. Looking out the window of that space shuttle, I thought, if that little girl growing up in Chicago could see her older self now, she would have a huge grin on her face. The flight made May famous. She realized she could use her fame to talk about how important it is to take care of the planet. She also wanted people of all races to know they could be part of the scientific world. May always believed in following her dreams, and she never let people tell her she couldn't. She also refused to become any one thing, a scientist or an artist, a doctor or a dancer. May believed she could do anything, and she did. Now that you've met me, Jemison, don't you think you can do the same thing? Reach for the stars and more. Isn't she amazing? I hope you got inspiration to imagine your story. Astronauts, when they go up into space and go to alien worlds like the moon, they bring back some samples of rock and soil and everything. So these samples need to be kept in a very clean place, and you can't touch them with your hands. You need gloves or something very clean to touch them with, because otherwise these samples will get contaminated with dust, dirt, bacteria, water, anything else that's here on Earth. Here is a picture of the place where they keep the moon rocks. And this clean box is where they examine them. For today's activity, we'll build a little clean box where we can examine some rocks. Our uncontaminated samples are here from the alien world. We are going to open our clean box door and quickly transfer our sample into the clean box. Close the door. Got to be uncontaminated. And now we're going to examine them. Another fun activity to do is make constellation cookies. Yummy. So you can make it with your own favorite cookie dough and add the patterns of constellations. You can look up constellations and add patterns of the constellations to your cookie. Or you can make up your own constellations. I am going to now eat Ursa Major, or the Great Bear. Yummy. Until next time.